Hey everybody, it's Lisa from the Silver Farmhouse. Let's create some Blackened Beeswax corn. So I ordered molds off of Amazon. Now you can see there's two different sizes here. I wanted the bigger actual size corn, but I did order the small ones at first and didn't realize they were that small. So just be careful on what size you want to make and what your molds actually are. So these are just silicone molds, and there's 5 half pieces of corn in each mold. I am using beeswax. I ordered my beeswax off of Amazon. And I'm also using a wax yellow coloring that I order off of Amazon. You are going to need the yellow color to give your corn that yellow look. Beeswax does have a cream color, but to get that yellow look, you need the yellow coloring of the wax. What I do, guys, is I use crock pots. These are my wax crock pots. You cannot use a crock pot after you use it for wax for food. So make sure you have crafting crock pots. I dumped some beeswax in there and I turned it on to high. I just keep checking it every now and then until it's melted. Once it's melted, I add the yellow wax in. I let that melt for a few minutes. Probably going to take a good 2 to 3 hours to melt your wax. I just pour mine in a throwaway cup. I use a ladle and I fill my corn molds. One mold, I will fill almost all the way to the top. The next mold, I will leave a little headspace, maybe 1/4 inch, if that. So one side you could fill to the top. The other side you need to leave a little bit of leeway, and you'll see why. These take about 2 to 3 hours to cool. I do line a baking sheet. I have crafting baking sheets, crafting ladles. None of this stuff is used for food ever again, okay? So just make sure they are all crafting supplies that you are using. So I just put them on a pan. I move them. I let them cool. I have a set that are cooled here. You can see the color. You don't have to add too much of that yellow wax. I add a little bit at a time, maybe a half a cube, and then I'll let it melt, stir it, and see what the yellow looks like. You can even dump a little and let it dry out on a piece of foil to see if you like that color before you start. I am going to pop some corn out, the full side. Now, the one I left that little bit of headspace, I'm just going to place these corn on top to make sure they fit okay. This is why you're leaving the little bit of headspace on one set of corn. Because now what we're going to do is I'm going to pull each one off individually, and I'm going to fill that headspace with a little bit of the melted wax. This is going to adhere your two sides together. Make sure you actually get a coating right on top of that other piece of corn there where I'm pouring. You don't want to just put it in the middle. You have to make sure the whole thing is coated on that one side with your hot wax, and then place your other piece of corn on top. Give them a few minutes to harden up and dry before you remove them from your molds. This is a 2-step process because I have 2 crock pots there, you see. One crock pot has yellow wax, the other one has black wax. You do the same thing. I took beeswax, I melted it, except I used black wax in the other one. Again, add a little bit at a time, bring a little bit out on a piece of paper, let it dry, see how black your wax is. Now these are hardened up. I'm just giving them a little squeeze to make sure they're adhered well. It only took about a minute or 2 for them to harden up. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke a skewer into the bottom of each of my corn cobs. And I'm going to dip it into my crock pot of black wax. Depending on how black your wax ends up being, it may need to be a double dip. Sometimes they're a single dip depending on how dark I make my wax. So that's my crock pot with my black wax. I'm just giving it a stir to make sure it's all mixed up. Always use throwaway cups or crafting items. In this little container here, I have cinnamon, pumpkin pie spice, allspice, and cloves. I just keep a container of it for my crafting. This will not be used on food. This is just for my crafting. I'm going to put a skewer into the bottom of my corn cob. Make sure you get it in good enough. Don't push it in too far because you don't want to split your corn in half. Give it a quick dunk, hold it up, and let it drip. And this is what it came out looking like. Dry super quick. It'll dry while you're holding it. If it's not dark enough and your corn is still way too yellow, you want a little yellow hue, but you don't want it yellow. And then once you're done with that, pull your skewer out. You rub it into your mixture of cinnamon and all of that. You take a paintbrush and you dust it off. You don't want to dust it all off. This is the whole thing. You need some. You see, they're still covered a little bit. This is not hard to do. You could do so many different things with this. I've done a lamb. I did crow ornaments. I did corn cobs. I did sunflower molds. Any kind of silicone mold you can make into blackened beeswax. My lamb that I did and my crows that I did, I just used black wax, not the yellow. See my crows there? They're just made with black wax. Fill the molds with black wax, let them cool, and I did the same thing. Here's one I'm popping out. This was just black wax. The reason I used the yellow for the corn is I wanted that little bit of yellow hue. You can do them all black if you want your corn. And I simply just rub them with cinnamon, take a paintbrush. You can even just use cinnamon. I like all 4 spices, and everything comes out amazing. These look great in a primitive home, very primitive. They will last forever. You do not burn these. They are just ornaments you can put in a dough bowl. You can hang on your tree. The lamb I made came out beautiful. He's in a huge dough bowl. Guys, thank you so much for watching this quick tutorial and for following the Silver Farmhouse.